Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video, we're going to look at the video solutions to the Corbettmaths Practice Questions on solving equations. If you need any extra help on solving equations, if you go to Corbettmaths and go to the videos and worksheets section and scroll down to video numbers 110 and 113, there's dedicated video tutorials there on solving equations. But in this video, we're going to focus on the video solutions to the practice questions, so let's get started. Okay, let's have a look at our first question, question number 1. So question number 1 says solve 4g equals 12. Now you may be able to look at this and say, well, 4 times a number equals 12, so you'll know the number's 3 straight away because 4 times 3 is equal to 12. But in this video, we're going to focus on the method that we use whenever we're solving equations, because it's really useful to know that method, because particularly whenever you get letters on both sides, it's easier to actually use the method than it is to try and guess what the number may be. So if we've got here 4 times g is equal to 12, we don't want this multiplied by 4. So if we want to get rid of this multiplied by 4, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 4. So we're going to do the inverse operation to both sides. So to get rid of the multiply by 4, we're going to divide by 4, and we're going to divide by 4. If we divide the left-hand side by 4, well, we're dividing by 4 to get rid of the times by 4, so we'll just be left with g. Or another way to think of it is if you've got 4g and you divide it by 4, you get 1g or just g. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 12. We're dividing by 4, and that's equal to 3. So g equals 3. So that's our answer, g equals 3. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 2. So question number 2, we've been asked to solve x subtract 3 equals 8. Now again, you might be able to look at this and say, well, x must be 11 because 11 take away 3 is equal to 8. But again, we're focusing on the method here. So we've got x take away 3 equals 8. We want to get rid of the take away 3 on this left-hand side because we want to find what x equals. So we want x equals and then a number. So we want to get rid of this take away 3. And the inverse operation, well, if we've got take away 3, we're going to add 3 to both sides. So we're going to add 3 to the left-hand side, and we're going to add 3 to the right-hand side. So on the left-hand side, we had x take away 3. We're adding 3, well, because minus 3 plus 3 is 0, so we'll just be left with x. So we've got x on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we had 8 plus 3, that's equal to 11. So x equals 11. So that's our answer, x equals 11. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 3. Okay, so question number 3, we've been asked to solve x plus 5 equals 7. So again, we want to get the x on its own, so we want to get rid of this plus 5. If we want to get rid of 5, we're going to take away 5 from both sides of the equation. So to get rid of the plus 5, we're going to take away 5 from the left-hand side, and we're going to take away 5 from the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we had x plus 5. We're taking away 5 to get rid of the plus 5, so we'd just be left with x. And on the right-hand side, we have 7, take away 5, that's equal to 2. And that's it, x equals 2. That's our answer, 2. Let's just check that. 2 plus 5 is equal to 7, and that's it. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 4. So question number 4, we've been asked to solve x plus 7 equals 4. So we want to get the x on its own, so we want to get rid of this plus 7 on the left-hand side of the equation. So we're going to take away 7 from both sides. So we're going to take away 7 from the left-hand side of the equation to get rid of the plus 7. And we're also going to take away 7 from the right-hand side of the equation. So on the left-hand side, we had x plus 7, take away 7. Well, if we take away the 7, we'd just be left with x. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 4, take away 7, and 4 take away 7 is minus 3. So x equals minus 3, and that's our answer, x equals minus 3. And let's check that, minus 3 plus 7, well, minus 3 plus 7 is equal to 4. So that's it, we know we're right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 5. So question number 5, we've been asked to solve 25 equals 8 plus y. And we want to find out what y is. So this question is a little bit different than those we've looked at so far, because here we've got the y on the right-hand side rather than the left-hand side. You could, if you want to, turn it around, but you don't need to. We want to get the y on its own because we want to find out what y is. Now, you might be able to look at this and say, well, 8 plus 17 is equal to 25, and just know it's 17. But again, we're focusing on the method. So we want to get rid of the 8 on the right-hand side of the equation. So if we want to get rid of this 8, we're going to take away 8 from both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side of the equation, 25 take away 8 is 17. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 8 plus y. We're taking away the 8, so we'd just be left with y. So we've got that 17 equals y. And we can turn that around, y equals 17. And that's our answer, y equals 17. And that's it. Now in this question, if you wanted to, you could turn it around and write, instead of 25 equals 8 plus y, you could write 8 plus y equals 25, but I probably would just actually leave it like that and just solve it, and then at the end just turn it around, and that's it. So y equals 17. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 6. So question number 6, we've been asked to solve x over 4, or x divided by 4 equals 7. So here we want to get the x on its own, so we don't want this to divide by 4 on the left-hand side. So we're going to do the inverse operation. And the inverse operation divided by 4 is to multiply by 4. So we're going to multiply the left-hand side of the equation by 4. We're going to multiply the right-hand side of the equation by 4. On the left-hand side, we had x divided by 4. We're multiplying by 4, so that's going to get rid of the divide by 4. So we're just going to be left with x. So x. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we've got 7 times 4. And 7 times 4 is 28. So we get that x is equal to 28. And that's it. And again, we can check our answer. 28 divided by 4 is equal to 7. So we know we're right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 7. So question number 7, we've been asked to solve x divided by 2 equals 10, or x over 2 is equal to 10. So we want to get rid of the divide by 2. We want to just be left with the x. So to get rid of the divide by 2, we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 2. On the left-hand side, we had x divided by 2. We're multiplying by 2 to get rid of the divide by 2, so we just be left with x. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 10 times 2 is equal to 20. So x equals 20, and that's it, that's our answer. And again, we can check our answer. 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 8. Okay, so question number 8 says solve 5x equals 90. So we want to solve this equation, and this is saying 5x, 5 times x is equal to 90. So we want to get rid of this multiply by 5. We want the x on its own. So if we want to get rid of the multiply by 5, we want to divide both sides of the equation by 5. So we're going to divide by 5 and divide by 5 because that's the inverse operation. So 5x's divided by 5 would be 1x, or just x. And on the right hand side of the equation, we've got 90 divided by 5. So we've got 90 divided by 5. Now I'm going to use the bus shelter method here. 90 divided by 5. How many 5s go into 9? 1, remainder 4. And how many 5s go into 40? That's 8. So that'll be 18. So x equals 18. And we can check our answer. 5 times 18 is equal to 90. So we know we're right. So that's it. X equals 18. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 9. So question number 9 says solve m divided by 5 equals 3.7, or m over 5 equals 3.7. So we want the m on its own. We want to find out what m is. So we want to get rid of this divide by 5. So we're going to do the inverse operation, which is multiply by 5 and multiply by 5. On the left hand side, we're multiplying by 5 to get rid of the divide by 5. So we'd just be left with m. And on the right hand side, we've got 3.7 multiplied by 5. And it's a calculator question, so you can just type in 3.7 times 5. And that's equal to 18.5. So that means that m equals 18.5. And that's it. And again, you can check your answer. If you do 18.5 divided by 5, you get 3.7. And that's it. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 10. So question number 10, this time we've been asked to solve 3x equals negative 24. So again, we want to find out what x is. So 3 times a number equals negative 24. So we want to get rid of this multiply by 3. So because we want to find out what x is. So we want to get it on its own. So let's get rid of the multiply by 3 by dividing both sides of the equation by 3. We'll divide the left-hand side by 3, and we'll divide the right-hand side by 3. 3x divided by 3, well, if you got 3x's and you divide it by 3, you'd be left with 1x, or just x, and that's why we're dividing by 3. And on the right hand side of the equation, we've got negative 24 divided by 3. Now 24 divided by 3 is 8, so negative 24 divided by 3 would be negative 8. So x equals negative 8, x equals negative 8, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 11. So question number 11, this time we've been asked to solve 2w subtract 1 equals 13. So unlike questions 1 to 10, which are all one-step equations, this is a two-step equation because we've got 2 steps to solve it. So here we've got 2 times a number, take away 1 is equal to 13. Now again, you might be able to look at this and say, well, 2 times 7 is 14, take away 1 is 13, so that means the w must be 7, just looking at it. However, we're going to be looking later on in this video at equations with letters on both sides and more complicated equations, so we're going to be using the method because it's very important to know that method for whenever you're solving more complex equations. So let's have a look at this. We've got 2w, take away 1 equals 13. So let's get rid of this take away 1 to begin with. Whenever we're solving an equation like this, we'd often work in reverse BODMAS order. So let's get rid of the minus 1 to begin with. So let's add 1 to both sides of the equation. So on the left hand side, we had 2w take away 1. We're adding 1 to get rid of the take away 1, so we would just be left with 2w. So we've got 2w there. And then on the right hand side of the equation, we had 13 plus 1, that's equal to 14. So we've now got 2w equals 14, so we want to get rid of this multiply by 2. So to get rid of the multiply by 2, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 2. We're going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. We had 2 times w, we're dividing by 2 to get rid of the times by 2, so we'd just be left with w. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 14 divided by 2, that's equal to 7. So that means that w equals 7, and that's it. So that's our answer. And that's the approach we would use. We'd add 1 to both sides to begin with to get 2w equals 14. And then we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 2 to get the w equals 7, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 12. Okay, so question number 12, we've been asked to solve 3y plus 4 equals 22. So whenever we want to solve an equation like this, let's get rid of the plus 4 to begin with. So we're going to take away 4 from both sides of the equation. So we had 3y plus 4, we're taking away 4 to get rid of the plus 4, so we'd just be left with 3y. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 22, take away 4 is equal to 18. So we've now got that 3y equals 18. We don't want this multiplied by 3 here, so let's divide by 3 and divide by 3. On the left hand side of the equation, we have 3y. We're divided by 3 to get rid of the times by 3, so we just be left with y. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 18 divided by 3, that's equal to 6. So that means that y equals 6. And actually, we can check our answer. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 4 is equal to 22. And that's it, so y equals 6. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 13. Okay, so question number 13 says solve 9c subtract 4 equals 68. So we want to find out what c is, so we want to get the c on its own. So we want to get rid of this minus 4, and then we want to get rid of this multiplied by 9. So to get rid of the minus 4, we're going to do the inverse operation, which would be add 4 and add 4, and we're going to see what we get. So on the left hand side, we had 9c take away 4. We're adding 4 to get rid of the take away 4, so we'd just be left with 9c. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 68. Adding 4, well 68 plus 4 is equal to 72. Okay, now we've got 9c equals 72. We don't want this multiplied by 9, so we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 9. So we're going to do divide by 9 and divide by 9. On the left hand side, well, we're dividing by 9 to get rid of the times by 9, so we'll just be left with c. And on the right hand side of the equation, 72 divided by 9 is equal to 8. So that means that c equals 8. And let's just check it. 9 times 8 is 72. Take away 4 is 68. So that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 14. So question number 14, we've been asked to solve 5y plus y equals 60. So here we've got 5y's and we've got to add another y, or 1y. 5y's plus 1y is equal to 6y's. And if you've looked at collecting like terms, you'll know that 5y's plus another y will be equal to 6y's. So this left-hand side, we've got 6y's, and that still equals 60. And now we just need to solve this. 6 times a number is equal to 60, so you might just be able to spot and see that's 10. Or remember our method that if we've got 6 times y, we want to get rid of the multiply by 6, so we're going to divide by 6 and divide by 6. 6y divided by 6 would just be equal to y, and 60 divided by 6 is equal to 10. So that means that y equals 10, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 15. Okay, so question number 15, we've been asked to solve c over 2, or c divided by 2, plus 3 equals 10. So we want to get the c on its own. So whenever we're solving an equation like this, remember we do a reverse Corbettmaths order, so we want to get rid of any adding and taking aways to begin with, and then we'll get rid of any multiplies or divides. So let's get rid of this add 3. So if we want to get rid of this add 3, we're going to do the inverse operation, which is take away 3 and take away 3. On the left hand side of the equation, we had c divided by 2 plus 3. We're taking away 3 to get rid of the plus 3, so we'd just be left with c over 2, or c divided by 2. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 10 take away 3, and 10 take away 3 is equal to 7. So we've got that c divided by 2 is equal to 7. Now we don't want this divided by 2 here, we just want to find out what c is. So if we want to get rid of this divide by 2, we're going to times both sides of the equation by 2. So we're going to times by 2 and times by 2. On the left hand side, we had c divided by 2. We multiplied by 2 to get rid of the divide by 2, so we'd just be left with c on that left hand side on its own. And on the right hand side, we had 7 times 2, that's equal to 14. So that means the c equals 14. And let's just check this. 14 divided by 2 is 7, plus 3 is 10. So that means the c equals 14. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 16. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 16. So this time we've been asked to solve 10y take away 3 equals 24. Okay, so to begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to add 3 to both sides to get rid of this take away 3. So we'll add 3 to the left hand side and add 3 to the right hand side. On the left hand side, we're adding 3 to get rid of the take away 3, so we'll just be left with 10y. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 24 plus 3, that's equal to 27. So we've now got that 10y, 10 times a number, equals 27. Now already I know this is going to be a decimal number because obviously 27 is not a multiple of 10, so this is going to be a decimal number. It's a non-calculator question, but this division is going to be quite straightforward because we get 10 times y equals 27, so we're going to divide by 10 and divide by 10. 10 times y, well, we're dividing by 10 to get rid of the times by 10, so we'll just be left with y. And on the right hand side, we've got 27 divided by 10. And 27 divided by 10 will be 2.7. Just moving those digits one column to the right. So the 2 would move from the tens to the units, or the ones column, and the 7, which is in the ones or the units, would move into the tenths. So the answer is 2.7. So y equals 2.7. And let's just check that. 10 times 2.7 is equal to 27. Take away 3 would be 24. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 17. So question number 17, we've been asked to solve 8w plus 20 equals 4. Now, to begin with, what I've already noticed here is we've got 8 times a number plus 20, and the answer is only 4. So that means that I'm thinking this part must be negative, because if you're adding 20, you're only getting an answer of 4. I'm thinking this bit must be negative, and let's just see if that's right. So here we've got 8w plus 20 equals 4, so we want to get the w on its own. So let's get rid of this plus 20. So let's take away 20 from the left-hand side and take away 20 from the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we had 8w plus 20. We're taking away 20 to get rid of the plus 20, so we'll just be left with 8w. So 8w. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 4, take away 20. And if you've got 4 and you take away 20, so if you had £4 in the bank and you take £20 out, you'd be left with £16. So 4 take away 20 would be minus 16. So here we've got 8 times w equals minus 16. So that's 8 times a number is equal to minus 16. So we want to get rid of this multiplied by 8. So we're going to divide by 8. So we're going to divide the left-hand side by 8 and divide the right-hand side of the equation by 8. 8 times w, well, we're dividing by 8 to get rid of the times by 8, so we'll just be left with w. And then on the right-hand side, we've got minus 16 divided by 8. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. Minus 16 divided by 8 would be minus 2. So that means that w equals minus 2. Minus 2. And let's just check that. 8 times minus 2 is minus 16, plus 20 would be 4, and that's it. So in this question, we wanted to get rid of the plus 20, so we just took 20 away from both sides, and then we want to get rid of the multiplied by 8, so we just divided both sides by 8. We got our answer. Okay, let's take our next question, question number 18. So question number 18 says solve 12 subtract y equals 5. There's a few different approaches you could use to solve this question. One is to look at it. 12 take away y is equal to 5, so y has to be 7, because 12 take away 7 is equal to 5. So that's one approach. Now another approach would be actually to solve this by looking at it and saying, well, we want to get the y on its own. Now at the minute that's a minus y, so I actually want it to be y, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add y to both sides of the equation. So I'm going to add y to the left hand side of the equation, and I'm also going to add y to the right hand side of the equation to get rid of this minus y and to make the y plus y. So on this left hand side we had 12 take away y, we're adding y to get rid of the minus y, so we're just going to be left with 12. And on the right hand side of the equation we've got 5 plus y, so it's going to be 5 plus y. Okay, now we want to get the y on its own, so we want to get rid of this 5. So let's take away 5 from both sides of the equation. So let's take away 5 from the left hand side and take away 5 from the right hand side. 12 take away 5 is equal to 7, and on the right hand side we had 5 plus y, we're taking away the 5, so we'd just be left with the y. So we've got that 7 equals y, or y equals 7, and that's it, so y equals 7. Now this was a 1 mark question, and if you look at it you can just actually see that 12 take away 7 is equal to 5, so if you spotted that, fantastic. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 19. So question number 19, we've been asked to solve 4y subtract 5 equals 18, and it's a calculator question. So we want to solve this, we want to get the y on its own, so let's get rid of this minus 5, so let's do the inverse, which is add 5 to both sides of the equation. We're adding 5 to get rid of the minus 5, so we'll just be left with 4y on the left hand side of the equation. And we have 18 plus 5, and 18 plus 5 is 23. Okay, now this is 4 times y equals 23. We don't want this multiplied by 4, so let's divide by 4 and divide by 4. So on the left hand side of the equation we had 4 times y. We're dividing by 4 to get rid of the times by 4, so we'd just be left with y. And on the right hand side of the equation we've got 23 divided by 4. And that's a calculator question, so we can just do 23 divided by 4 is equal to 5.75, so 5.75. So that's our answer, y equals 5.75. And that's our answer, 5.75. Or you could have written it as 5 3/4 or even 23 over 4. But that's it. Okay, let's take our next question, question number 20. Okay, so question number 20, we've been asked to solve 18 subtract 4a equals 2. Now here, this question is a bit like question number 18, where we've got minus 4a. We want to find out what a is, so I'm going to actually add 4a to both sides of that equation to begin with, because I don't like the fact that that's negative. So I'm going to add 4a and add 4a. And on the left hand side we had 18 take away 4a. We're adding 4a to get rid of the minus 4a, so we'd just be left with 18 on that left hand side of the equation. On the right hand side of the equation we've got 2 plus 4a, so that's 2 plus 4a. Now we want to find out what a is, we want to get rid of this 2. So let's take away 2 from both sides of this equation. So let's take away 2 from the left hand side and take away 2 from the right hand side. 18 take away 2 is equal to 16. And on the right hand side of the equation we had 2 plus 4a. We're taking away 2 to get rid of this 2, so we'd just be left with 4a. So we've now got that 16 equals 4 times a. Now we don't want this multiplied by 4, so we're going to divide by 4 and divide by 4. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. And 4a divided by 4, well, we're dividing by 4 to get rid of the times by 4, so we'd just be left with a. So we've got that 4 equals a, or a equals 4. And that's it. And let's check our answer. 4 times 4 is equal to 16, and 18 take away 16 is equal to 2. So that's it, we know we're right. So question number 21. So question number 21 says solve 3x over 4 equals 9. So in this equation, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this divide by 4 to begin with. And to get rid of this divide by 4, we're going to times by 4. So let's multiply both sides of the equation by 4. So on the left-hand side of the equation, we had 3x divided by 4. We're timesing by 4 to get rid of the divide by 4, so we'd just be left with 3x. On the right-hand side of the equation, we had 9. We're timesing it by 4. That's equal to 36. So we've now got the 3x equals 36. We don't want this multiplied by 3, so we're going to divide by 3 and divide by 3. 3 times x divided by 3 would just be x. And on the right hand side we have 36 divided by 3, and that's equal to 12. So it means that x equals 12. And let's check that. 3 times 12 is 36, divided by 4 is 9. So that's it, that's our answer. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 22. So question number 22, we've been asked to solve 2e subtract 8 equals 14. So we want to get the e on its own, so we want to get rid of this take away 8, and we want to get rid of this multiplied by 2. So let's get rid of this take away 8 to begin with. So we're going to do the inverse, which is add 8 to the left-hand side of the equation, and we're going to add 8 to the right-hand side of the equation. On the left-hand side of the equation, we're adding 8 to get rid of the minus 8, so we're just going to be left with 2e. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 14 plus 8, that's going to be 22. So we've got the 2 times e is equal to 22. Now you might be able to spot here, that's going to be 11. 2 times 11 is 22. But we're going to divide by 2, and we're going to divide by 2. 2e divided by 2 would just be e. And then 22 divided by 2 is equal to 11. So e equals 11, and that's it. And let's check our answer. 2 times 11 is 22, take away 8 is 14, and that's it. Okay, let's take our next question, question number 23. So question number 23, we've been asked to solve w plus 3 all over 4 is equal to 6. So when you've got a question like this, what we want to do is we want to get rid of this all over 4 to begin with. So let's multiply both sides of the equation by 4 to begin with. And now get rid of that big divide by 4. So we're multiplying by 4 to get rid of the divide by 4. So on the left-hand side, we'll be left with w plus 3. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 6 times 4. And 6 times 4 is equal to 24. So we've now got that w plus 3 equals 24. Let's take away 3 from both sides of the equation to just leave us with w on the left hand side. So let's take away 3 and take away 3. On the left hand side we have w plus 3. We're taking out 3 to get rid of the plus 3, so we'd just be left with w. And on the right hand side of the equation we've got 24, take away 3, that's equal to 21. So that means that w equals 21. And that's it. And let's check our answer. 21 plus 3 is 24, divided by 4 is 6. So we know we're right. Okay, question number 24. So question number 24 says solve 3 bracket y plus 4 close brackets equals 24. So 3 times this bracket equals 24. There's a few different ways you could approach this question. Some people might say, well, let's get rid of the multiply by 3 to begin with. So let's divide both sides of the equation by 3. And if you do that, you get that y plus 4 is equal to 8. And then you can take away 4 from both sides to see that y is equal to 4. I personally, if I was doing a question like this, I'd probably expand the brackets. And if you need to revise that topic, go to Corbettmaths and watch the video and expand in brackets. So here, to expand these brackets, this is 3 lots of y plus 4. So we're going to do 3 times y, which is 3y, just doing 3 times y, and then 3 times 4, which is 12. So if you multiply what's in the bracket by the number outside, you'll get 3y plus 12. So we've expanded the brackets there. And then, so we've expanded the brackets by just doing 3 times y is 3y, and 3 times 4 is 12. And that's still equal to 24. So we've just expanded the brackets, now we need to solve the equation. So we want to get rid of this plus 12, and then we want to get rid of this multiplied by 3. So let's take away 12 and take away 12. On the left hand side, we'll be left with 3y, because we're taking away 12 to get rid of the plus 12. And on the right hand side of the equation, we have 24, take away 12 is equal to 12. So we've now got that 3y equals 12. We don't want this multiplied by 3 here, so we're going to divide by 3 and divide by 3. So on the left hand side we had 3 times y divided by 3 would just be y. And on the right hand side of the equation we had 12 divided by 3, that's equal to 4. So y equals 4. And that's it, y equals 4. And let's check our answer. 4 plus 4 is equal to 8, and 3 times 8 is 24. And that's it. So in this question I expanded the brackets. You could, if you wanted to, I'm just going to write it down here, 3 bracket y plus 4 equals 24. If you wanted to, you could actually divide both sides of the equation by 3 to get rid of this times by 3. So you could divide by 3 and divide by 3. On the left hand side, you're dividing by 3 to get rid of the times by 3, so we'll just be left with y plus 4. And on the right hand side, we'd have 24 divided by 3, that's equal to 8. And then just take away 4 and take away 4, and you'll get that y equals 4. So both approaches are fine. I would probably use that approach just because I like expanding brackets, but yeah. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 25. Okay, so let's have a look at our next question, question number 25. So question number 25 says solve 3 bracket 4w minus 1 close brackets equals 39. And again, with this question, we can use either approach. We could divide both sides by 3 because we could get rid of this multiplied by 3 by dividing both sides of the equation by 3, or we could expand our brackets. So let's start off by expanding our brackets. 3 times 4w is 12w, so 12w. And 3 times minus 1, that's going to be minus 3. And then we've still got that's equal to 39. So we've just expanded our brackets. We've multiplied what's inside the brackets by 3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to solve this equation. So we've got 12w minus 3 equals 39. So we want to get the w on its own. So let's get rid of the minus 3 to begin with. So let's add 3, do the inverse to both sides of the equation. So on the left-hand side, we had 12w take away 3. We're adding 3 to get rid of the take away 3, so we're just going to be left with 12w. And on the other side of the equation, we had 39, and we're adding 3, so that's going to be equal to 42. So we've now got the 12w equals 42. Now we want to find out what w is. This is 12 times w, so we want to get rid of this multiplied by 12. So let's divide the left-hand side of the equation by 12, and divide the right-hand side of the equation by 12. 12w divided by 12 would just be 1w, or w. And that's why we divided by 12 to get rid of that times by 12. And on the right hand side, we have 42 divided by 12. Now the good news is it's a calculator question, so we can just do 42 divided by 12, and that's equal to 7 over 2, or 3.5, so 3.5. So w is 3.5, or 7 over 2, or I suppose 3.5. And that's it. So we've solved that equation. Now with that question we had 3 bracket 4w minus 1 equals 39. We could, instead of expand the brackets, we could divide both sides by 3. And if we do that, if we divide the left hand side by 3 and divide the right hand side by 3, that would get rid of the times by 3. So we'd just be left with 4w minus 1. So what's inside the brackets? And that's equal to 39 divided by 3 is equal to 13. Now we just need to add 1 to both sides, so add 1 and add 1 to get rid of the take away 1. So on the left hand side we'd have 4w, we're adding 1 to get rid of the minus 1. And on the right hand side we've got 13 plus 1, that's equal to 14. Now we just need to get rid of this times by 4, so we're going to divide by 4 and divide by 4, and we get that w equals 3.5. So again we got 3.5, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 26. Okay, so question number 26 says to solve 5 bracket 2y plus 7 close brackets equals 20. So again, we could expand our brackets. So let's use that approach to begin with. So 5 times 2y would be 10y, just multiplying by 5, and then plus, and then 7 times 5 would be 35. So we've just multiplied what's inside the brackets by what's outside. And then that's still equal to 20. Now we want to get the y on its own, so we want to get rid of this plus 35 and this times by 10. So let's get rid of the plus 35 by doing the inverse, take away 35 and take away 35. So on the left hand side of the equation we had 10y plus 35. We're taking away 35 to get rid of the plus 35, so we'd just be left with 10y. And on the right hand side of the equation we had 20, take away 35, that's going to be equal to minus 15, so minus 15. Now we've got 10 times y equals minus 15. So we want to get the y on its own, so we want to get rid of this times by 10. So let's divide by 10 and divide by 10. 10y divided by 10 would just be y. And on the right hand side, minus 15 divided by 10 would be minus 1.5. So that'll be equal to minus 1.5. So y equals minus 1.5. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 27. Okay, so question number 27, we've been asked to solve 2x minus 9 all over 7 is equal to 4. So if I was solving an equation like this, the first thing I'd want to do is get rid of this all over 7. So we want to get rid of this divide by 7. So let's multiply the left hand side by 7 and multiply the right hand side by 7. So on the left hand side, we're multiplying by 7 to get rid of the divide by 7. So we're just going to be left with the numerator, the 2x minus 9, so 2x minus 9. And on the right hand side of the equation, we have 4 times 7, that's equal to 28. That's equal to 28. So we've now got that 2x minus 9 equals 28. Now we want to solve this equation, so let's get rid of this minus 9. So let's add 9 to both sides, so add 9 and add 9. On the left hand side, we had 2x minus 9 plus 9, so we'd just be left with 2x because we're adding the 9 to get rid of the minus 9. And that's going to be equal to 28 plus 9, and 28 plus 9 is equal to 37, so 37. Now we're nearly there. We've got 2 times x equals 37. We don't want to multiply by 2, so let's divide by 2 and divide by 2. On the left hand side, we're dividing by 2 to get rid of the times by 2, so we're just going to be left with x. And on the right hand side, we've got 37 divided by 2, that's equal to 18.5, so 18.5. And that's it, 18.5, x equals 18.5. And again, we could check our answer. 2 times 18.5 is 37, take away 9 is 28, divided by 7 is 4, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 28. So question number 28, we've been asked to solve 7w plus 3 equals 5w plus 9. So this equation, we've got letters on both sides. We've got w's here and w's here. We've got 7w's here and 5w's here. Now, whenever you're solving an equation with letters on both sides, ideally we would just have the w on one side because we want to finish up with w equals a number. So what we do is whenever we've got equations with letters on both sides, we want to get rid of the lowest number of the letter. So here I want to get rid of the lowest number of w's. Now, I'm not saying the smallest number of w's because sometimes rather than both being positive, you might have a negative one, and that's one I want to get rid of, the one that's the lowest. So here we've got 7w and 5w. The lowest is the 5w. So I'm going to take away 5w from both sides of this equation. So I'm going to take away 5w from the left-hand side and 5w from the right-hand side. 7w plus 3, take away 5w's. Well, 7w's take away 5w's is 2w's, and then we've still got the plus 3. And then on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 5w plus 9. We're taking away the 5w's, so we'll just be left with 9. So we've got that 2w plus 3 equals 9. Now we just want to solve this like the equations we had earlier. So let's take away 3 from both sides. So take away 3 and take away 3. On the left-hand side, we'll be left with our 2w. And on the right-hand side, we had 9, take away 3. That's equal to 6. Now we're almost there. We've got 2 times w equals 6. We want to get rid of that times by 2. So let's divide by 2 and divide by 2. And we'll get the w equals 3. And that's it. Now let's check our answer. If w is equal to 3, 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 3 would be 24. So that side would be 24. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 9 is 24. So that side is 24. So you get 24 equals 24. So we know we're right. So w equals 3. So w equals 3. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 29. Okay, so question number 29, we've been asked to solve 9x minus 2 equals 3x plus 70. So when we've got an equation with letters on both sides, I want to get rid of the lowest number of the letters. So here we've got 9x's and here we've got 3x's. So I'm going to get rid of these 3x's. And to get rid of these 3x's, I'm going to take away 3x's from both sides of the equation. So minus 3x, minus 3x. On the left-hand side of the equation, we had 9x's. We're taking away 3x's, so we'll be left with 6x's. And we've still got our minus 2. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 3x plus 70. We're taking away the 3x's, so we'd just be left with 70. I'm not going to write plus 70, I'm just writing 70. Now we just need to solve this equation. This is like the ones we've looked at earlier. We just need to add 2 to both sides of the equation and then divide both sides by 6. So let's add 2 and add 2. So on the left-hand side, we had 6x minus 2. We're adding 2 to get rid of the minus 2, so we'd just be left with 6x, so 6x. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 70. We're adding 2, so that'll be 72. Now we're almost there. We've got 6 times x is equal 72. So we're going to divide by 6 and divide by 6. And we're going to get, well, 6x divided by 6 would just be x. And then 72 divided by 6 is 12. So that means that x equals 12. And that's it, we've solved that equation. And let's just check it. 9 times 12 is equal to 108. Take away 2 is 106. 3 times 12 is 36. Add 70 is 106. So you get 106 equals 106. So that's it, we're done. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 30. So question number 30, we've been asked to solve 8x plus 1 equals 6 minus 2x. So here we've got letters on both sides of the equation. We've got our 8x's and our minus 2x's. So we're going to get rid of the lowest number of x's, and the lowest number of x's would be our minus 2x's. Minus 2x's is lower than 8x's. So to get rid of our minus 2x's, I'm going to add 2x's to both sides. I'm going to do the inverse. So I'm going to add 2x's to the left-hand side and add 2x's to the right-hand side. 8x plus 2x would be equal to 10x, so we've got 10x's there, and we still have our plus 1, and that equals, on the right hand side, we've got 6 minus 2x. We're adding 2x to get rid of the minus 2x, so we're just going to be left with 6. And this is great, we can now just solve this equation like the ones we've looked at earlier. Let's take away 1 from both sides of the equation, so minus 1 and minus 1. On the left hand side, we'd still have our 10x, and we've taken away 1 to get rid of the plus 1, so we've just got 10x. And on the right hand side of the equation, we had 6 minus 1, that's equal to 5. And then finally, to get rid of the times by 10, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 10. So divide by 10 and divide by 10. 10x divided by 10 would just be x. And on the right hand side, 5 divided by 10 is 0.5. So x equals 0.5, or half. So 0.5. And let's just check that. 8 times 0.5 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And here, 6 minus 2x. So 2 times 0.5 is 1, and 6 take away 1 is 5. So you get 5 equals 5. So you're done. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 31. So question number 31, we've been asked to solve 12x plus 3 equals 7x minus 4. So here we've got x's on both sides. We've got 12x's here and 7x's here. So let's get rid of the lowest one, which is the 7x. So let's take away 7x from the left-hand side and take away 7x's from the right-hand side. So 12x's, take away 7x's, is 5x's, but we've still got our plus 3. And then on the right-hand side of the equation, we've got 7x minus 4. We're taking away the 7x's, so we'll be left with minus 4. So we've now got 5x plus 3 equals minus 4. So we want to solve this equation, so let's now just take away 3 from both sides. So take away 3 and take away 3. So on the left-hand side, we'll be left with 5x's, because we're taking away 3 to get rid of the plus 3. And then on the right-hand side, minus 4, take away 3 would be minus 7. So we've got that 5x equals minus 7. Now we just need to divide by 5 and divide by 5. And we get that x equals, and minus 7 divided by 5. And that's a calculator question, so that's quite nice. We can just type in minus 7 divided by 5, and that's equal to minus 1.4. So minus 1.4. So minus 1.4. Or you could write minus 7 over 5, but I'm just going to write minus 1.4. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 32. So question number 32, we've been asked to solve 7x equals 61.6 minus 4x. So here we've got x's on both sides, so let's get rid of the lowest one. So here's 7x's, and here we've got minus 4x's. So the lowest one is minus 4x's. To get rid of these minus 4x's, we're going to do the inverse, which is add 4x's to both sides. So add 4x's to the left-hand side, and add 4x's to the right-hand side. 7x plus 4x is 11x. And then on this right-hand side, we're adding 4x to get rid of the minus 4x. So we're just going to be left with 61.6. Now we want to get rid of this multiplied by 11 to get the x on its own. So we're going to divide by 11 and divide by 11. And so we're going to get on the left-hand side x, and on the right-hand side, it's a calculator question. So that's quite nice. We can just do 61.6 divided by 11 is equal to 5.6, so 5.6 or 28 over 5, but I'm just going to write 5.6. And that's it. We've solved that equation. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 33. So question number 33, we've been asked to solve 7y plus 6 equals 5 brackets y minus 2 close brackets. So here we've got y's on both sides, and actually we've got brackets as well. So I'm going to start off by expanding the brackets. So on the left-hand side, that'll be the same, 7y plus 6. And then on the right-hand side, we want to expand our brackets. That means we're going to multiply what's inside the bracket by 5. So 5 times y is 5y, and 5 times minus 2 would be minus 10. So we've just multiplied what's in the brackets by 5. So 5 lots of y minus 2 would be 5y minus 10. Okay, now we've got an equation with letters on both sides. We've got 7y's and 5y's. So the lowest number of y's there will be the 5y's. So let's take away 5y's from both sides of the equation. So take away 5y's from the left-hand side and take away 5y's from the right-hand side. So on the left-hand side, we had 7y's. We're taking away 5y's, so we're going to be left with 2y's. And then we've still got our plus 6. And then on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 5y's minus 10. We're taking away the 5y's, so we're going to be left with minus 10. So minus 10. So we've now got 2y plus 6 equals minus 10. Now we want to get the y on its own, so we want to get rid of this plus 6, and then we want to get rid of this multiplied by 2. So let's take away 6 from both sides of the equation. So take away 6 and take away 6. On the left-hand side, we had 2y's plus 6. We're taking away 6 to get rid of the plus 6, so we're going to be left with 2y's. And then on the right-hand side, we had minus 10. Take away 6, that's going to be minus 16. So we've now got 2y equals minus 16. We're just going to divide by 2. So divide by 2 and divide by 2. So on the left-hand side, 2y's divided by 2 would just be y. And on the right-hand side, minus 16 divided by 2 would be minus 8. So y equals minus 8. And that's it. And we can check our answer. 7 times minus 8 would be minus 56. Plus 6 would be minus 50, because you're going to be going back up 6. So that's minus 50. On this side, you had minus 8 take away 2. Inside the brackets are going to be minus 10. Times 5 is minus 50. So minus 50 equals minus 50. So we're right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 34. Okay, so question number 34, we've been asked to solve 4 bracket 2x minus 5, close brackets, equals 5x plus 4. So let's start off by expanding our brackets. 4 times 2x would be 8x, so 8x, and then minus, and then 4 times 5 would be 20. So expanding the brackets would be 8x minus 20, and the right-hand side of the equation stays the same, so 5x plus 4. Now we've got letters on both sides. The lowest number of x's will be the 5x's rather than the 8x's. We're going to take away 5x's from both sides of the equation. So take away 5x's and take away 5x's. On the left-hand side, we had 8x's. We're taking away 5x's, so we're going to be left with 3x's. And then we've still got our minus 20. And then on the right-hand side of the equation, we had 5x plus 4. We're taking away the 5x's, so we're just going to be left with 4. So we've now got that 3x minus 20 equals 4. Now we want to solve this, so we want to get the x on its own, so we want to get rid of this minus 20, and we also want to get rid of this times by 3. So let's get rid of the minus 20 to begin with by adding 20, the inverse, to both sides of the equation. So on the left-hand side of the equation, we're adding 20 to get rid of the minus 20, so we'll just be left with the 3x, so 3x. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we have 4 plus 20, that's equal to 24. Now we're almost done. 3 times x equals 24. We don't want this multiplied by 3, so let's divide by 3 and divide by 3. 3x's divided by 3 would just be x, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. So x equals 8, and that's our answer, x equals 8. And let's check it. 2 times 8 is 16, take away 5 is 11, and 4 times 11 is 44. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 is 44, so you get 44 equals 44. So that's it, we've got it right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 35. Okay, so question number 35, we've got letters on both sides and brackets on both sides. So let's expand the brackets to begin with. So we've got, just going to actually read the question, solve 2 bracket 2x plus 1, close brackets, equals 3 brackets x minus 4, close brackets. So let's start off with the left-hand side. We're going to multiply what's in the brackets by 2. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 1 is 2. So we've got 4x plus 2 on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we're going to multiply what's inside the brackets by 3. 3 times x is 3x. And then we've got minus, and 3 times 4 is 12. So we've got the 4x plus 2 equals 3x minus 12. So we want to solve that equation. It's got letters on both sides, so let's get rid of the lowest number of x's, which would be the 3x's. So we're going to do minus 3x's and minus 3x's. On the left-hand side of the equation, 4x's take away 3x's is just 1x, so I'm just going to write x, and we've still got our plus 2. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we're taking out 3x's to get rid of these 3x's, so we're just going to be left with minus 12. So we've got x plus 2 equals minus 12. So now we want to get rid of this add 2. So we're going to take away 2 from both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side, we had x plus 2. We're taking away 2 to get rid of the plus 2, so we're just going to be left with x. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we had minus 12. Take away 2 would be minus 14. So we've got that x equals minus 14, so x equals minus 14. And that's it. And we can check our answer. Minus 14 times 2 is minus 28. Add 1 would be minus 27, and times 2 would be minus 54. Here you've got minus 14 take away 4 is minus 18, and minus 18 times 3 would be minus 54 as well. So that's it, we're right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 36. So question number 36, we've been asked to solve 5 brackets 3c minus 2, close brackets, minus 7c, equals 4t subtract 2c. So this equation looks quite complicated, but let's start by expanding the brackets. So we're going to multiply what's inside the brackets by 5. 5 times 3c would be 15c, and then we've got our minus, and then 5 times 2 is 10. So we've expanded the brackets, and we've still got our minus 7c then on the end, and that equals 40 subtract 2c. So we've expanded the brackets. Now let's actually have a look at this. We can actually simplify this left-hand side because we've got 15c's, take away 10, take away 7c's. So let's focus on these c's, collecting the like terms. 15c's, take away 7c's is 8c's. So instead of writing 15c's, take away 10, take away 7c's, I'm just going to write 8c's, take away 10. So I'm going to take the 7c's away from the 15c's. So we get 8c's, take away 10, equals, and then the right-hand side will be 40 minus 2c. Okay, now we've got letters on both sides. We've got 8c's here and minus 2c's here. So we're going to get rid of the lowest number of c's, and the lowest number will be the minus 2c's. So we're going to get rid of minus 2c's, we'll do the inverse, which is add 2c's to both sides of the equation. 8c's plus 2c's is 10c's, and then we've still got our minus 10. And that equals, on the right-hand side, we had 40 take away 2c's. We're adding 2c's to get rid of the minus 2c's, so we're just going to be left with 40. So we've now got 10c, take away 10, is equal to 40. So let's solve this. Let's just add 10 to both sides. So add 10 and add 10. On the left-hand side, we'll be left with 10c. And on the right-hand side, we had 40 plus 10, that's equal to 50. So we've got that 10c equals 50. Now we want to get the c on its own, so let's divide by 10 and divide by 10. 10c divided by 10 would just be c, and 50 divided by 10 is 5. And that's it, c equals 5. And we've solved that equation. So let's have a look at that if we just check our answer. 3 times 5 is 15. Take away 2 is 13. Times 5 is 65. Take away 7c. 7 times 5 is 35. So 65 take away 35 is 30. On this right hand side, 40 minus 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 40 take away 10 is 30 as well. So you get 30 equals 30. So we know we're right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 37. Okay, so question number 37, we've been asked to solve 7 subtract w over 3 equals 3w minus 4. So we want to solve this equation. Now the first thing I notice is we've got this big divided by 3. I'm going to get rid of that big divided by 3. I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 3. So multiply the left hand side by 3 and the right hand side by 3. And I'm doing that to get rid of this divided by 3. So on the left hand side we had 7 minus w all divided by 3. We're timesing by 3 to get rid of the divide by 3. So we're just going to be left with what's on the numerator, which is 7 minus w. On the right hand side we have 3w minus 4. We're timesing by 3, so we're going to times both of those things by 3. 3w times 3 is 9w, and then minus 4 times 3 would be minus 12. So we've now got 7 minus w equals 9w minus 12. Now here we've got letters on both sides, so let's get rid of the lowest number of w's. And the lowest number of w's would be this minus w, or minus 1w. So to get rid of this minus 1w, we're going to add w to both sides of the equation. On the left hand side we had 7 minus w. We're adding w to get rid of the minus w, so we're just left with 7. On the right hand side we had 9 w's, plus another w would be 10 w's. Then we've got our minus 12. And then finally we just need to solve this equation. So we want to get the w on its own, so let's get rid of the minus 12 to begin with. So let's add 12 and add 12. 7 plus 12 is 19. And on the right hand side of the equation we're adding 12 to get rid of the minus 12, so we'll just be left with 10w. So we've now got that 19 equals 10w. Now let's get rid of this times by 10. So let's divide by 10 and divide by 10. 19 divided by 10 is 1.9. And 10w divided by 10, well, we divided by 10 to get rid of the times by 10, so we're just going to be left with w. So we've got the w, it's 1.9, so 1.9. And that's it, w equals 1.9. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 38. So question number 38, we've been asked to solve y plus 7 all over y equals 3. So here we've got this all over y. So I'm going to get rid of that divide by y. And I'm going to get rid of that divide by y by multiplying both sides of the equation by y. So we're going to multiply the left hand side by y and the right hand side by y. So we're multiplying by y to get rid of this big divide by y. So we're going to be left with what's on the numerator, which is y plus 7. On the right hand side of the equation, we've got 3 times y, which is 3y. Now we want to solve this, so we've got letters on both sides. We've got 1y here and 3y's here. So let's get rid of the lowest number of y's, which is the 1y. So let's take away y and take away y. So on the left hand side we had y plus 7. We're taking away the y, so we're just going to be left with 7. And on the right hand side of the equation we have 3y, take away y would be 2y's. And then finally we've got 7 equals 2y's, we just need to divide by 2. So if we divide by 2 and divide by 2, 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, and 2y's divided by 2 would just be y. So it means that y equals 3.5, so 3.5. And let's just check that. If we've got 3.5 and we add 7, that's 10.5. And 10.5 divided by 3.5, well, if you cut up in 3.5s, that's 3.5, 7, 10.5, so that'd be 3, and that's it. So in this question, I started off by getting rid of the big divide by y, by multiplying both sides of the equation by y. That left us with y plus 7 equals 3y. We've got y's on both sides, so I got rid of the lowest number of y's, which is the 1y, by taking away y from both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side of the equation, we were left with 7, and on the left-hand side of the equation, we'll be left with 2y's now. And then finally, divided by 2, and 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So question number 39, we've got this table, this grid here, and we've got and we've got 20, WXX, and we've got 24, WXXY, and 25, and WXYZ, and then 30. And the question says, in the grid above, each row adds to the number on the right. So this row adds to 20, this row adds to 24, this row adds to 25, and this row adds to 30. And we've been asked to find the values of W, X, Y, and Z. Now actually you can look at this and actually spot some of the answers straight away. You can actually say, well, if you've got W plus W plus W plus W equals 20, W must be 5 because 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is equal to 20. And you can just know W is equal to 5. Or you might make an equation here because W plus W plus W plus W, there's 4 W's there, and that equals 20. And then that's an equation. We've got 4 times W is 20, so you could divide by 4 and divide by 4, and you get that W equals 5. So we now know that W equals 5, so we're just going to write 5 in there, 5 there, 5 there, 5 there, 5 there, 5 there, 5 there, and 5 there. Okay, now let's have a look at the next row. We've got W, W, X, X, and that equals 24. Now again, you might be able to look at this and say, well, 5 plus 5 is 10. And then these two must then add together to be 14, because 10 plus 14 is equal to 24. So that means that X is equal to 7, because 7 plus 7 is equal to 14. So you'd work out that X is equal to 7 that way. Or you can make an equation. You've got 5 plus X equals 24. I'm just going to write that down actually. 5 plus X equals 24. And then you could solve that equation. 5 plus 5, just collecting the right terms. 5 plus 5 is 10. And X plus X is plus 2X. And that equals 24. So you've got 10 plus 2X equals 24. Some people actually might have just gone to that equation to begin with. Now we want to solve this, so let's get the X on its own. So let's take away 10 and take away 10. On the left-hand side, you're taking away 10 to get rid of this 10, so you're just going to be left with 2X. And on the right-hand side, 24 take away 10 is 14. And then divide by 2 and divide by 2, and you get that X equals 7. So X equals 7. So we've got W equals 5 and X equals 7. So that's 7, 7, 7, 7, and 7. Okay, now actually we can look at this one and see what Y is straight away, because here you've got that 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus Y equals 25. So 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 7 is 19, and 19 plus 6 is equal to 25. So that means that Y equals 6. Or you can make an equation. You could say 5 plus 7 is 19 plus Y, so 19 plus Y equals 25, and then just solve that equation by taking away 19 and taking away 19, and you get the Y equals 6. So we've got a lot of the letters already, so I'm actually just going to fill some of these in. So W equals 5, X equals 7, and Y equals 6. So now let's get Z. So let's go back up to the grid. We've just worked out that Y is equal to 6, so that's a 6 there, and this one's going to be quite easy. 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is equal to 18, so that means that that must be 12, because 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 12 is 30, so that means that Z is equal to 12, Z equals 12. We can make an equation, if we wanted to. At this point, you could say 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is 18, so you get 18 plus Z equals 30, and then if you just take away 18 and take away 18, you get that Z is equal to 12. And that's it. So Z is equal to 12. So we've got that W is equal to 5, X is equal to 7, Y is equal to 6, and Z is equal to 12. And that's it. So these have been the video solutions to the Corbettmaths Practice Questions on solving equations. In this video, we've looked at equations where we've got letters on one side and letters on both sides. If you find this video useful, you feel free to then go on to Corbettmaths and have a look at the video on forming and solving equations. And that'd be quite useful as well. So forming equations and then solving them. And that's what I'd probably watch after watching this video. And I really hope you find this video useful. And if you have found it useful, please like it and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.